Good morning. I'm Maddie Adamson, Secretary of the Board of the Jewish Women's Foundation. I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, a woman who certainly owns her own power, Sivan, who will address the power of technology. Imagine living in an African village with your only source of water a hole in the ground several miles away. Water you have to hand carry home numerous times a day, boiling it to make it drinkable. Imagine giving birth at night, assisted by only a midwife, holding a cell phone on flashlight mode in her teeth as she helps you deliver your baby. Now, imagine doing something about it, delivering access to clean water and light to over 3 million people, with that number increasing every month. Talk about impact. Sivan is the founder and CEO of Innovation Africa, a nonprofit that brings Israeli solar, agricultural, and water technologies to African villages. One woman, one idea, lots of grit and determination equals profound change for millions. A longtime friend and grantee partner of our foundation, we have given her 3 grants to build solar-powered water systems in 2 villages and light for a health center in Uganda in 2012, 2015, and 2017. Sivan is also a friend of my family and my own personal hero. My son's bar mitzvah project raised money for an Innovation Africa water project, and we were lucky enough to be able to ultimately visit the installation. And that visit was one of my life's most moving and life-altering experiences. How drilling a well, installing solar panels, and bringing in water taps means hope and a fuller future for the entire village, and especially the women and girls. Village by village, over 300 projects across 10 countries. Amazing. Sivan has an incredible personal story that informs her work, and I will now turn the screen over to her.
Good morning, everyone. Maddie, you're so kind. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you to Melissa and Lisa and Jamie, and frankly, to all of the women of the Jewish Women Foundation of New York. Like Maddie said, you have already impacted the lives of so many people across Africa in helping to bring Israeli technologies to 3 villages in Uganda and Malawi. And at the same time, while you've been helping specifically women, you have also helped Israel. And today I was asked to speak as an Israeli, as a mother, as a wife, as a Zionist, about why I decided to devote my life to bring and share Israeli knowledge and technology to help people in Africa. Allow me to start by telling you that there was no reason for me to go to Africa. I was born in Israel. My father was not a businessman working in Africa. He was not a diplomat. In fact, most of my childhood, my father was unemployed in Israel. And at some point, because we didn't have much, we moved to France. And in France, my parents opened a pizzeria, sold pizza in the market, and that's it. When I returned to Israel to join the army at the age of 18, I got very lucky. After the army, I met somebody who has changed my life. I was 20 years old and I met the owner of Jordache jeans. Now, do you remember Jordache jeans back then? We're talking about 20 years ago, 23 years ago. And I met him and I asked him for a job. And because I spoke French, he gave me a job working in one of their factories in Africa. And this is how 23 years ago, I got to the continent and I haven't left. Today, I'm 43 years old. And today I'm going to tell you about my passion for Africa, like many of you, and the passion I have for Israel, and the passion I have when it comes to help specifically women, because it's not easy to be a woman nowhere, but it's even more difficult when you live in Africa. So with your permission, I would like to start with a short video just to show you what we were able to do in impacting the lives of so many people across Africa using Israeli technology.
Typhoid, diarrhea, vomiting. People use the very water. People get sick.
Unapata mgonjwa, homa, malaria.
Darkness, because we don't have light. We use kerosene. We don't deliver the services as we must.
It was very difficult for us children to study at night.
Kabla hatujapata mradi wa maji, tulikuwa tunahangaika sana kwa ajili ya kutafuta maji.
People drink muddy water, children studying without having a light. Even the mother couldn't give birth because the health center doesn't have a light at night. And for us at Innovation Africa, we want to change that.
Innovation Africa was founded 10 years ago with a very simple mission: to bring Israeli technologies to transform schools, medical centers, but most importantly, to pump water.
When we reach to communities and you mention the word water, at that time you see the smile on faces of these people.
We identify the village that are in need of water. We build a tower and we distribute the water taps all around the village.
The first transformation we see ever, their skins improve.
Any human being should have access to clean water.
We have water under the ground. The sun is shining every day. With the knowledge and Israeli technology, we can make a change, and forever.
Once we do it, it completely transforms the village.
I believe Innovation Africa can change Africa.
We didn't have any dream of getting clean water in our community in Uganda here. So we really appreciate the team from Israel.
When we use this solar at night, children are able to read properly, the teachers are able to teach. We are very grateful for Innovation Africa.
Are you ready? Yes! 1, 2, 3, go!
I take this opportunity to thank Innovation Africa to bring us power in our facility.
You are our fathers and mothers from Israel.
Innovation Africa has made more children to come to study because of the lights and the water.
Innovation Africa kutuletea mradi wa maji. Na sasa hivi maji mpaka shuleni yanafika, natumia muda mwingi kusoma, sihangaiki tena kwenda kutafuta maji. Na maji yako karibu, tunawashukuruni sana Innovation Africa.
We are committed to bring water where there is drought to bring light where there is darkness, to bring hope and dignity where there is despair. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I would like maybe to share with you once again how lucky I feel from the fact of getting to know Africa. And as I told you, growing up, we didn't have much. And I would like to show you the good news about the next pictures, as you're going to see, and tell me if you cannot see my screen. But the good news is, as you can see, I haven't changed. Look at me. This was me in Israel. We didn't have much. But only when I got to Africa, I realized how lucky I was growing up. I had shoes, I had a bed, I had a cover. What I saw in Africa, it was different. And here is my first picture outside of the factory of George's jeans in Madagascar. And I was speaking to the children, and they took me to the nearby village, and I spent some time in the villages. And after a few weeks, I realized that in the nearby schools, there is no electricity. People were using candles. Then I went to see medical centers, no electricity, no doctors, no refrigerators. It took me time, and the more I traveled to more countries, because at that time, Jordache, they had a few factories across Africa, then I realized it's not about 1 or 2 or 3 villages. It is actually a challenge across Africa. And as you can see, even today, there are over 600 million people in Africa that do not have access to electricity. I wanted to try and help. I got to New York, I got my master's in energy, and as a student, I went back to Africa. I bought 2 solar panels because my professor, it was at Columbia University, and my professor told me, Sivan, if you want to go back, you only need 2 solar panels. I said, that's all. He said, yes. If you bring that to a school or a medical center, that will be enough to bring light. I raised money from the children of Hillel and the students, and I went back to Africa. With 2 solar panels, I installed it on a medical center. It was simple, it was cheap, and it was actually priceless to see the joy in the face of the women. And the next day, I purchased a small refrigerator for the vaccines and medicines. And the next day, lines of women came with children to get vaccinated. I was really just happy, went back to New York. I said, let's do it again. And then I remembered in Israel, I could see solar panels everywhere. I said, must have Israeli technology. Came to Israel, purchased a few solar panels and batteries and whatnot, went back to the nearby school. It was all good. I opened the charity. I'm still a student. I continued to install solar panels on more schools and medical centers until one day I realized I made a mistake. And please trust me, I made many mistakes and I failed many times. But here I went to a school where only a few months before we installed the solar panels. So I thought they will be happy. But the teacher told me, Sivan, thank you very much, but we're not using the solar energy. I said, why? He said, children are not coming. They're too weak to walk. There is famine. And I said, there is no water. And as you can see, this is when I realized that the main challenge is actually water. Because there is no water, people are not going to school, people are sick. And the pictures that you're seeing are pictures from across the countries where we operate. And then it took me time, but I realized that actually there is plenty of clean water just below their feet in the aquifers. There is plenty of it. But what we need energy to pump the water. So the main challenge is energy. So I said here again, maybe solar energy, and we can pump water. And that's what we do. Very simple. We're capturing the energy from the sun to pump water in large villages. So what we do, first step, we drill, and we always find water. Second, we build a structure 10 meters high. We install a few solar panels, just enough to capture the energy from the sun to power the pump, and then we pump the water, and the water then flows to the different taps that we are installing in the village. On the way, we hire people from the village, including women, 10 people, to work with the contractors. We install the Israeli remote monitoring that I'm going to show you in a moment to show you that we can keep track of everything we do in the villages, and that's it. That's all. Simple, it works, and we keep doing it village by village. Like Maddie said, this is what we are trying to do. And sometimes we bring drip irrigation from Israel just to allow especially the women to be able to grow more food with less water. So we're very proud. We're very proud to go back and to see all the economic development. The village is becoming rich. Once we give them access to clean water, they can make bricks, build home, agriculture, and so on. Today, Innovation Africa, we operate, as Maddie said, in 10 countries. We have helped 586 villages, and we provided access to clean water to over 3 million people. And here a quick list of all of the villages. At least 2 of them are thanks to all of you. So once again, we're quite grateful for all that we have done. The pictures that you are seeing are actually pictures from this year and 2020. Even during the Corona time, we continued. Last year only, we brought access to clean water to 200 villages because, as you can imagine, in order to wash your hands, to stop the spread of the coronavirus, you need to have access to clean water. So we keep going. And how much it costs? It costs less than $10 a person. That's all. To bring water to an entire village of 5,000 people, it doesn't cost that much. So we are lucky to have some donors, but we are very, very lucky to have that partnership with you, the Jewish Women Foundation of New York, and for what you have done, because you trusted us when we were small, when we were young. And let me show you. This is live monitoring system of one of your projects, the one that we completed in 2015. And as you can see, the pictures of the water before, that's what they used to drink. And then here's Maddie, Fern, dancing here with the ladies. And then we opened the taps and they were all very excited. And until now, it's still running, it's still working, and it's all thanks to you. And I hope that some of you will come to visit again, because here you're going to see how much water we are pumping every single day. Look, as of, I believe, yesterday, we pumped over 20,000 liters, and this is all thanks to all of you. The same goes to Nakuluke and Kuluni, which is Maddie's and her son, that together they came and they danced. It's still working. Since 2013, people are still getting clean water, and it's thanks to you. Allow me to conclude to say thank you. What I've learned from my experience is that sometimes the source of the problem, it was the sun, is also the source of the solution. What I've also learned from my own experience is that my problem was growing up without much. But today it's my solution, because today it motivates me to go and help those that really don't have much. And that keeps me going, truly. And the last thing I would like to say, look at me. What have I done? Nothing. All I've done, I shared. I take something that existed and I brought it to where it was needed. And I know that many of you, all of you, are doing so much good. And so I'm very grateful to be your partner, to know you, and I am extremely, I'm feeling privileged to be here this morning to be speaking to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sivan. It's amazing to see how far you've come with Innovation Africa, the small part that we can have played in that. And for everyone, Sivan was one of the first Jewish women social entrepreneurs we supported. She's kind of like the prototype of what we do now in terms of creating cohorts of these extraordinary leaders. And again, a women's gathering, if there's not tissues needed, I know people have turned off their video because they were so moved by what you were saying and your work, Sivan. So definitely don't leave before you read all of the chat, because there's so many awesome comments and accolades, and I want you to take that in also.